Hello, I'm Pat Carosa, and I'm in this grief group. And each week there are different topics of something that has to deal with grief. And this week is about fear and being overwhelmed. And I have lost two people in my life, my dad in 2017 and my grandfather in 2024. My dad with cancer, my grandfather with dementia, and back in 2017, when really 2016, when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I remember going to my room and I cried, and I don't usually cry for anything really in my life. It's just me. I just can't cry. And I just cried because I'm like, my dad has cancer. This is crazy. And for the longest time, I thought he would make it. I thought he would get through it. We really didn't talk about it as a family all that much. He went into chemo, and after that, it was just no one really talked about it. Even my dad didn't talk about the results or really what was, how good he was doing or how bad he was doing. No one really did. It was a year and a half of really just a normal year. There really wasn't any update, and um, except I think as we went into the final months when the doctor said they couldn't do anything, my dad never wanted to die. He never wanted to, and it was too soon. And for all of us, it was too soon. And he fought until the very, very bitter end. And I think that's what was so tough about it, and how it was tough for me. I really blocked it out for a good year and a half, and I never really asked how he was doing. I never really went upon myself to ask my dad, "Are you doing okay?" I really just blocked it out and forgot about it. And I was dealing with my own stuff as well with school and student teaching and in graduating with my master's degree. I focused on that and not really my dad's health per se. And do I regret that? Yes, a little bit. Looking back on it, I wish I would have spent more time with my dad and really appreciated that he was there at that time. He was too weak to come to my graduation in May, and then in June when he was in the hospital, it, you just couldn't think about it. It was actually my first YouTube video that I actually posted in 2017. That was that day, and I couldn't believe it. It just didn't seem right. And when he finally went on and didn't make it, and those first couple days, those first couple months were just so tough. You just walk into our house and it's quiet. You don't hear anything, and you're suddenly in this transition you didn't want to be in, and it was tough. It was horrible. It was overwhelming, and I was afraid for my future, for what was coming down the line, because I didn't know how to react in certain situations. Because almost every person I went to advice for was my dad. He was the person that I went to for advice, and now he wasn't there. And to go into a house that was so quiet, and you feel that loss, you just feel it. You feel everyone's pain, and to hear it so quiet, not the normal, steps, my dad's steps, my dad's size, my dad's voice, not there anymore, and it just felt weird. It felt unnatural, and that was tough. That was really tough, and and as you go on, it gets a little bit easier. But as major holidays come on, it's hard to treat that as a normal day, and you start having these negative thoughts, that you can't do it without your dad. You can't do it. And as adversity struck up on me through every job and through every difficult task, and I couldn't go to my dad for help. That's tough. That was hard for me, and it's still hard for me to not go to him for advice, to really uh, to really hear what he has to say is one of the most difficult things I have I'm experiencing right now. The what ifs, the the just what if I convinced my dad to work out with me? Would he have lost some weight? Would is weight did weight contribute to him getting cancer? I mean, it's the thing that I never understood how he got it. No one really knew, and sometimes that happens with cancer. You don't really know how you get it. It just happens, and that's the toughest part of all. But what if what if I would have spent more time with my dad? Because that's one thing I regret. In that year and a half, I never really spent spent time with him. I never really appreciated that he was there. It's not like I ignored him per se. Maybe but I definitely didn't go out of my way and say, "Hey, um, how are you doing? Let's see a movie. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's spend some time together." And I didn't do that, and I regret that so much, that I didn't do that in that year and a half. Because I always thought he would be there, and suddenly he's not, and I look back and I regret it. And I think that's why I don't share the same regrets that I share with my grandfather, because I did spend as much time with him in the last few years as I could. And for me, that's helpful. That's really helpful. So, yeah, all these negative thoughts. My dad's not here. My dad's not um, not with me. Has been troubling me over the last few years. But sometimes you have to change that negative thought. You have to change it. And rather than say, "Oh, I wish he was here, man, it would be great if my dad was here," and it would have been great. But in reality, he is here. We talked about how we should focus on people who are in our lives right now, because that's what God wants. He wants us to be happy. My dad and my grandfather would want me to be happy. That's the most important thing. And to appreciate the people in your life. I had my dad for 25 years. I had my grandfather for 32 years. And I appreciate that. I wish I had my dad for more. I really do. I think we all do. All my siblings and cousins and everyone. They wish they had my dad for more. But for me, and this is what we talked about today, um, is that, appreciating the the years that we spent with that person. And I can say for a fact that I appreciate everything my dad did for me, especially early on in my life. And I appreciate every moment, every day, every second that he was there in my life. It's been overwhelming the past 7 years. I was scared in the beginning, but as time goes on, it's not as scary anymore because I know at the end of the day, when my time does come, he'll be there. We'll be hugging and laughing.